Okay, so this is a Board of Health meeting, Thursday, March 16th, 6 PM, 2023. We're in the land use room. Present at the meeting is Sue Braska.
Jean Nielsen.
Tom Hibbert.
And we're waiting to see if Mackenzie will show up, but well, I guess we'll continue. So the meeting called to order, and there's no public comment, there's nobody there. Okay, on the minutes, so I did email the minutes.
I did, I reviewed them, and I would like to make a motion to accept them.
I second that motion.
All in favor? Aye.
I'm in favor too. Okay, so we accepted the minutes, and it's the minutes of the meeting from the 9th, right?
From the, would it have been the 9th, or would it have been the
No,
The
second?
second.
the second, yes.
Okay, just to stress that we do not have a secretary, so I'm kind of filling in.
Yeah.
From
We-
3 to.
The position is posted. I gave it to Robin in the selectman's office, and she published it in the Westfield News and maybe one of the other papers too. And I also talked to Jim, and he put it up on the website, so.
Did you talk to Ken and have him put at least a synopsis on channel 15?
No, I can do that though.
Ken, who,
Stomsky, he's the channel 15.
is he,
He's the one that programs.
is he in
this
the office
program.
here?
I believe he does.
Yeah, I haven't met him yet. So Mackenzie won't be joining us tonight.
Okay.
And since we're just talking about the secretary, we had our budget reflect that she would make 1605 instead of
75, I think.
1575.
Yeah,
Yeah,
And that's what our previous secretary was making, so therefore we just upped whatever that would be for 10 hours a week.
okay, but you did that and you're presenting that at the budget hearing.
correct.
We
So
already-
Yeah.
it's not been approved.
No, not yet.
No, but I just wanted to,
We're
On that
requesting
line.
enough to be able to pay 1605, 10 hours a week for the entire year, which is a little bit more than we had last year, but it's not significant, so.
which is the going rate. And also for the operations, we didn't ask for any more money, we just took, originally we were gonna ask for more money in the consultant line item, but what we did is we just took the immunization clinics and divided it between consultant and between travel, education, and conference.
Mhm.
Because Tom says he's going to get all his certifications before the end of this fiscal year, so there won't be anything to pay for that.
Okay,
But we'll get to the other part of it later.
Yeah.
Okay, so we did the minutes, okay, you talked about the secretary. All right, I did,
No problem.
I did get an email back from our potential physician, and I had sent him a copy of that contract that was for Bay State Medical Practices, which we,
the contract previous to,
yeah.
the one that we had used for Bay State
The one-
prior.
Yeah, but the one that we then revised and we looked at the meeting, so I sent him that. Of course, his name's not on or anything.
Right.
And he says it looks okay. And he wanted to, instead of us reimbursing him for his services, he wanted to know if we could just donate that money to the senior center.
Oh.
Which we can't, because it's coming out of the grant.
Right,
So we
right.
wouldn't be able to, we'd have to donate it to him, and then he could donate it.
Yeah,
Right.
So I told him, I told him we're very excited about this, that we really can't donate that, and that I'll get back to him with information. Did you talk to Laura about how we set him up with a vendor and stuff?
No, not yet. I'll have to make a note for that.
so he's not going through Bay State like we did the last time, we're actually paying him.
Yeah, he actually said that he checked and he didn't have to go through
Okay,
them, Bay State Medical Practices.
okay,
So as soon as we find out whether he has to have a vendor number, whatever he needs to do,
Mhm.
then I'll contact him again with that contract, will put his name on it,
Right,
and then I'll send him all the standing orders again.
Okay,
and how much was that for?
We paid in the past like $300, so I
Yeah.
said between $300 and $500.
But he didn't give a,
No,
so just offer him the 3 again, and then, you know, we'll issue the check to him, and he personally can make a donation to
Right,
the senior
yeah.
center. So it'll
yes,
be in his name,
that was very nice of him.
yeah, that was,
So that'd be nice, because this is finally checked off the list.
right.
yes.
Okay, so that's with the physician. So go ahead, Tom, with your report.
All right, so normally a lot of this stuff I would have put in the agenda, but I had to do it early because the storm. Luckily, I did it early,
the
otherwise
last
we wouldn't be
48
meeting
hours.
today. So, well, it's not the last 48 hours, it's just, I just was vague in I just
Yeah.
put it's recent inspections, delinquent permits, so this is just a little more specific. So, recent inspections, this week I inspected the Gristmill Cafe and Zantos.
And Gristmill Cafe did pay their late fee?
They did pay their late fee, yep. So I just have to get it back from treasurer collector, which I might have got today, and then I can officially issue the permit. A few minor issues, nothing too crazy. Obviously, getting a permit was a big one, so, Zantos was pretty good.
And now that's the new one.
The new owners, yep.
And now they paid their permit fees under the new ownership. Okay.
And who is, we're gonna need the
Contact information.
new contact information.
We got all of it from them, the new application, new fees, everything,
it's all
so we
in there.
have it all on the
Okay,
record.
we can put it.
And then last week I went out with, I had Tom Fitzgerald accompany me because I knew he had all the history on the property. The Four Dads Pub at 141 Congamon Road, which was Krabby Joe's, right? So they have done a ton of work in there. They've done some outside work with the parking lot and all that, and the inside was basically gutted. Some of the kitchen, part of the kitchen is gonna be gutted, and part of it was actually the floors, the tile and everything was actually in really good shape, so they're gonna be able to keep some of that. They're replacing pretty much all the equipment, so, they seemed like I was a little nervous from everything I heard about it, and how much work needed to be done, but they seem like they know what they're doing, so, wasn't as much of a headache as I thought it was gonna be, so, hopefully that keeps moving in a good direction, and, they would be hoping to open this summer, so. Housing, I think I had told you guys, I think I had just done the inspection, before the last meeting, I'd done it that day. I was able to get it sent out, and I actually got in touch with the landlord, the very next day. He had picked up the phone.
Mention the address.
Oh, yes, it was, 440 College Highway.
Here is 440.
That's right here, isn't it?
Yeah, but there's just a few houses past,
Yeah.
Town Hall. The landlord, I called him, he picked up the phone, he gave me his email address, so I sent him the order to correct right then and there.
So
And
it's a rental property?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, I think it's two separate buildings, I think it's a 4-family. And he got started, I think, that weekend, so he's already making progress on getting everything corrected.
So what needed to be corrected?
The big things, there was a heater that wasn't working in the kitchen, and the smoke detector was missing. So those, I haven't been out to re-inspect. I gave him 7 days for those, and he reported that it has been done already. So I've got to get in touch with the tenant, and there was some other things, minor things, broken doorway and things like that, I gave him 30 days for, which he's still working on, but, seems like that's moving in the right direction. So I don't have any concerns there. The delinquent permits, Red's Cafe, I feel like delinquent's not the right word, but they haven't fully been renewed yet, so.
That's because of back taxes owed?
Yes, they're paid though, there was a delay with the, from when they paid and when it gets reported to treasurer collectors through whatever the state system is, so, but I just checked with Holly yesterday and that was all good, so once I get that signed, I'll issue the permit, so they should be good to go. Roma, they paid, it's unclear if we gave them a permit or not. Sue and I were looking at it yesterday.
I didn't go into the folder though, the Roma folder.
I looked, it wasn't in there, so,
It's not checked off that it.
yeah,
was
so
distributed.
I think what happened, I think they turned in the application and the check, but they didn't include their certifications.
Right, that's what it was.
I tried to go there, all the days are a blur this week with the snowstorm. I think yesterday I tried to go there and they were closed. So they were supposed to be open, but they were closed, so, I'll try to get back there and just talk to them and, confirm whether or
Say, show
not.
me your
Yeah,
permit.
yeah, show me your permit and show me your serve safe and,
And
I think Dee had said that their serve safe had expired.
yeah, that's what I think it was, so,
and they paid late fees, penalties, all that.
yeah, well,
Nothing.
they paid, they
Yeah.
submitted everything on time, they just didn't include they didn't include the serve safe, so,
Okay.
So I made new forms this time, so instead of just sent out the application, received the application, received the money, we have that, we got the certifications if they, you know, if certifications are necessary.
Mhm.
So we can check that off to see exactly what they're missing.
Right,
I'm not checking off, put dates, we're gonna put dates in when we receive stuff, not just check.
Yeah.
But you won't be here, so you don't, doesn't really matter.
So, did a well water supply certificate for 426 North Loomis Street. It was conditional. They had couple of the water quality parameters were, just a little bit out of line, so they might need to end up, once they build a house and everything, putting in a treatment system or get it retested before they get their certificate. of
okay, so this is
occupancy.
a new build.
Yep, yep.
Okay.
So I can't remember off the top of my head what specifically it was, but,
No coliform, is it?
no coliform, so, I think it was iron or manganese, if, I could be wrong, but I think it was iron or
We have
manganese
iron
or
and
one of
manganese
those,
in
so,
our house.
That's common.
yeah, so they'll just need to, put in some sort of filter or treatment system probably. Also, sometimes if they run it
It
more,
runs it,
sometimes it
yeah.
comes down
That's what
naturally,
happened when
so,
I built my house.
yeah,
I ran it for like 48 hours.
yeah.
And then it cleared up.
Yeah, so, but we can give them the conditional so they can actually start building and, because we know it's stuff that they can treat for if they need to, so. Approved a septic plan for a repair at 164 South Long Yard Road. That was all just a standard repair job. I had witnessed the perk last month. With the Public Health Excellence Grant, so the health fair is coming together. The nurses have got plenty of advertisements out there in all 6 of the towns, in the Southwoods, in the TV station, on the website, so that should be good, and Tricia just found out today, BHN is gonna go. They had been asking about doing COVID boosters, so we figured why not do them at the
Who's BHN?
Behavioral Health Network. They do, I know when I was in Westfield, they would do COVID vaccines at the farmer's market, so, and they are gonna be giving out $25 Stop and Shop gift cards to anyone who gets a booster, so
Anyone? No limit?
I think so. I haven't read the fine print, but, so you never know, but,
Wow, I'm due for a booster,
yeah, so,
$25, there you go.
if
Yeah.
I do it.
yeah. We already kind of touched upon the budget, but I've been working with Laura to get the budget categories in the town system don't match up with the grant budget line items, which has made things confusing when trying to deal with the grant. So we're getting that squared away, and I think we're almost done. I've had to go back and get clarification from DPH, but I think we're gonna be in a pretty good place to be able to figure out next year's budget for the grant, which has to be submitted by the end of April to the state.
And you're going to do that.
Yep. So I'll let you guys know once I do, but that should be all good. We postponed a meeting,
No, so wait, and they were eligible for $300,000.
Yeah.
Are you gonna get to that part, or am I jumping?
no, that was,
Yeah,
yeah, that's good, yeah, so,
and they're pushing for us to get a coordinator
A
Yeah.
coordinator.
to coordinate the grant,
yeah, so,
and also look for more grants.
yeah. So that's technically what I serve as a 1/10 of a full-time equivalent. So the state, one of their recommendations, to the group was to get a, full-time shared service coordinator. We don't necessarily need to make space for them, they could be remote,
And they don't have to be full-time.
right, and they don't necessarily
And I
have to
don't
be
think full-time is
full-time.
necessary.
And that would be all the 5 towns.
Yeah,
Six.
all six,
Sorry,
yeah.
all 6 towns.
Yeah, so that they would be able to take some of the grant stuff that I've been working on that is keeping me away from doing inspections and other health director business, because it has been fairly time consuming.
And they'd work with accounting on budgeting too.
Yep, they could work with that, they could work with all of the reporting that we have to do back to DPH, and then other things as needed. So there's the state has a draft job description, so that's something, this kind of ties in with the next thing, was going to meet with all of the towns on Tuesday, but we postponed the meeting because of the storm and,
Really?
yeah,
Oh, that's perfect.
yeah,
Is there any way you can forward that job description
Yeah.
to me? I'd like to look at it.
yeah, certainly.
Have you seen it?
No, I haven't seen it yet.
I'd like to see it,
Yeah.
just.
However, Tom's getting paid out of the administrator account right now, as administrator,
Yeah, as a shared service coordinator.
as a shared service
Yeah.
coordinator, because he's administering the grant.
Yep.
And how many hours is Tom working?
On the grant,
A lot.
a lot,
Okay.
Is
However,
yeah,
there's 2 issues coming up. There's one, that there's a coordinator, then they would take over. But another thing is Tom still is in charge of the nurses, he's still in charge of a lot of things. And he wouldn't be able to get paid out of that line item that he's getting paid out of now for the grant.
Yep.
So,
there is a, part of the grant is that the town gets a 15% agency administrative service fee. The intent of that is to go, town can do whatever they want with it, really, but the intent is to cover the town-related expenses towards the grant. So, because if you think about it, and, IT, accounting, a lot of the departments are, having the nurses based out here is creating extra work for a lot of the other departments, so it's to cover for that. So I don't know if anyone had made either the select board or accounting aware that what needs to happen is the town needs to generate an invoice to give to the grant so that we can pay the town that money. So this year, we didn't take the full amount of the grant. I think it's in the amount of about $26,000. Next year, it will, if they give us the full 300, it will be in the amount of $45,000. So that's one of the things that's included is to cover is management of the employees.
so the town's basically going to do an invoice, give it to.
Give it to the grant. The grant would.
To you?
To me, yeah,
To you.
yeah.
Because And they're gonna take that 45 out of the 300,000?
Yep.
Okay,
And then that would go to the town. So part of that, which I met with Carl and Laura, we still have to hammer out all the details, but, part of that could be used to cover my stipend. Cause it's a sort of a gray area of the grant doesn't want people to be paid, they call it supplanting funds. They don't want an employee who's already collecting a municipal salary to be getting funds from the town and from the grant.
Double dipping.
Yes, so I think the way our situation is a bit of a gray area, and sometimes I'm like, that doesn't make any sense, and sometimes the other way around, so.
well, to me, it doesn't make any sense, since
yeah.
Tom is supposed to be doing work for here, but he's doing so much work for the,
Right,
grant.
work for the grant, so,
and then you got Jim doing, what you were saying, you got Jim doing stuff, you got Laura doing stuff.
right, so. So yeah, so I think some of that could be just to shore that up and make sure we're not doing anything wrong by the grant, agreement. So part of that could be used to offset the stipend, and then the rest could go just into the general fund and just kind of support the town as a whole, because like we said, a lot of the departments are pitching in a little bit on the grant, so. So yeah, so that's that. So a couple other things I wanted to talk about with all the towns, is another thing the state wants is a intermunicipal agreement. So basically kind of however the 6 of us decide to self-govern, because right now it's kind of up in the air. We're the lead agency, but I don't want it to always come back to whatever we want. I want, the input from all the towns to make sure that we're, being fair and all of that.
But have the towns in the past, I know in the past when Alex has tried to set up,
Meetings,
or
yeah,
even, or even when we're trying to interview the candidates,
right,
who comes on? Maybe
No,
Blanford,
right,
Tom,
right, yeah.
who was doing Randall and Southwick? I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah, so I did have everyone lined up for Tuesday, so, hopefully we're gonna meet next Tuesday. I still have to get it confirmed with a couple more to make sure that will work, but yeah, I don't think, not for lack of trying, but I don't think there's ever been, a meeting with the whole group. So, that is a challenge to,
right,
you know,
so I think Alex would have meetings, but not everybody
right.
would be there.
Right, so, but some of the things that we could consider for next year, we already mentioned the shared service coordinator. Also, we could do a shared inspector. I don't think with the towns, and certainly not with us, I don't think there's need for a full-time and maybe not even a regular part-time. I was thinking maybe per diem would make sense.
For an inspector?
For an inspector, so that way, if, we have Tom on the town end if we needed him, but, if, for whatever reason, if we needed a little extra help with perks, if there was a big development that came in and Tom wasn't available, we could call upon the grant inspector, and the same thing with all the other towns. Most of them have someone they already use, but if they needed extra help or anything, we could have that. I don't think people would be okay with a part-time inspector, because that might feel like they're replacing whoever they currently have. So I don't think they would want to be on board with a full or part-time person, but per diem might make sense.
In the one meeting that I went to, Blanford did not want to have an inspector.
Right,
So
right.
I don't know where they stand now.
right. Another thing that we could do would be software. We might have talked about this at the last meeting. That's just inspection software, not any licensing. That's something we could consider doing. So that will.
That would be for all the towns.
Right, that would be for all the towns, so that we'll meet with them and come up with a game plan for that. And then I included onto the next,
Let me,
Yep.
send me the link for Tuesday, actually,
Okay.
I'm gonna be working next Tuesday, but
okay,
if I'm in the office, I'll just put it on.
all right. Onto the contact tracing grant, Jean Galloway from West Springfield sent me an email this morning, I included that. And she was just kind of looking for feedback on the grant. There seems like they might not be certain if they're gonna be able to extend it, because obviously the COVID workload is going down.
Especially now, we're not gonna have to wear masks.
Right, so I talked to Tricia, and we kind of agreed that, you know, if they can keep the grant going, you know, it's helpful, but I don't think if it went away, I don't think it would be, you know, based on where we are with COVID at this point, I don't think it would be a great loss. So that was gonna be my recommendation to Jean, is if it can keep going, great, but if not,
So
then it was, yeah, so.
So, not being in the medical field, I'm getting two different things. Great, I need a booster shot because of COVID and get my $25. COVID is kind of passe. Where are
because people have gotten their booster shots, and gotten their shots.
I know people have gotten booster shots, got COVID.
But
So,
but they weren't hospitalized, were they?
no,
Right, yeah, I got my
No.
booster shot like a month before I got COVID, and it was very minor. Like I had some symptoms, but it wasn't that bad, and I personally credit that to the being vaccinated and boosted and
I didn't
everything,
get out
but,
of bed for 2 days.
yeah.
But, you know, I'm wondering, is this really necessary? These boosters are necessary.
Well, they're saying the boosters.
They've never been
toward
proven to, you know, they weren't studied, they were kind
Yeah.
of just pushed right along, and are any long-term effects now showing up from the injections?
Not that I've heard of, there's been some side effects, and, like the one that's been widely reported is the myocarditis, and that's very, very rare. I don't know the exact numbers, but I wanna say it's like 1 in the hundreds of thousands, or maybe even millions experience that, of all the people that have got the vaccine.
And how about, then they were saying that some people, stroke was associated with it?
Right, that's what I.
Yeah, so I think overall, it, you know, definitely reduces your chance of having serious COVID. But I get where you're saying, where it's confusing of,
Yeah.
you know, still get vaccinated. I think we're heading into the point where, and as evidenced by the state and the federal government ending the emergency status, I think we're heading into the point where it will finally become more like the flu. And we don't need to track every case that comes in, we don't need to test every person, and if you have those symptoms, just like the flu, you know, pre-COVID, if someone had the flu, they might not even test you, they might just say, go home, stay home till you're better, drink lots of fluids. So I think we might be getting into that stage of where it's a little more just use your best judgment, use your common sense. If you're feeling sick, stay home, wash your hands, get vaccinated if you want to protect yourself and your family, and so I think that's kind of where it's at, is, you know, it's going to continue to be part of our lives, and we should try to minimize it, but it also is at the point where it doesn't need to control everything anymore.
I had a mom call this morning, she has 2 kids that go to school. She says, well, my son has COVID, so I'm keeping my son and my daughter home today, and I'll send my daughter into school tomorrow. I says, are you sure you want to do that? It's a contagious disease. You want to think about that for a
Well,
minute?
supposedly, though, what is the guidelines? at work, if you don't have symptoms.
If you don't have it,
If
Right.
you don't have it, you go to work.
Right, right,
but, you know, we're talking school age.
Right.
And you're talking about the same household, you're talking about close contact,
right,
maybe not.
yeah,
Maybe wait till Monday.
yeah, better safe than sorry.
Okay, so, you know, like I said, not being in the medical field,
Yeah.
I'm not sure which way,
To
you know,
go.
whether I wanna get the booster or not.
Yeah,
Wonder what the $25 gift card is toward,
Stop
Stop
and
and
shop.
the Stop and
Yeah.
Shop.
Didn't you hear that? I knew that.
I'm taking notes and,
Yeah.
okay, death data is generally filtered by county.
Oh,
and state
yes,
reporting.
yes,
Exactly.
Jean had asked at the last meeting about the death data, and, Mary was able to get from March 2020 to March 2022. And it said there was only 20 COVID deaths in Southwick. And Trish and I were wondering if that was accurate, or if maybe there was some missed data there, because the other towns, Agawam and West Springfield had and they're probably about double our size, they had 3 or 4 times as many deaths, so, but I guess in general, it seems like the state mostly keeps the COVID death data by county, rather than breaking it down by town for whatever reason. So, and there is a pretty good, dashboard on the state website that you can filter through, and it has the map and color coded and all that, and you can do case data by town, but they only go to county for deaths, so.
Well, I'm assuming that a majority of those were underlying health condition associated with the
Right.
virus.
Right,
That it's not the virus itself, you know, that's
Oh, yeah, you
killing
might
a generally
attribute it to
healthy person.
heart failure or something like
Yeah.
that,
Hmm.
not say COVID.
Well, I was just curious, and,
right,
you know, how many since have we had? You don't hear about it anymore, yet it was the only thing that was on the news for months and months.
right, right,
So, you know, it's passé.
right.
Is, Tricia keeping up with Mary for our website, putting whatever new numbers?
I think so. I'll check with her tomorrow. But I think that's one of her things she does every month when she gets the data.
Yeah, she seems like doing a real good job.
Yeah, definitely, definitely.
Yeah, and we got the file cabinet open.
Yeah.
Tom took out the locks, we could file cabinet, so Tricia's using that whole file cabinet for the nursing stuff.
Amazing.
And he moved things around, I don't know if you saw, he moved things around so that now the safe is over in that corner, so now we can, so that's good.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about damaging yourself as you're walking in
Right.
there, huh?
Yep,
Okay, I went through, can I interrupt?
Yeah.
Okay, I went through that list of, I went through all the file cabinets and put all those folders together into one folder for the septic system and pulled out anybody that had a well. But I have a question, because there's 2 properties that I pulled out that have wells, yet they had their system pumped December 2022.
And they were on the public sewer connection.
Yeah, this one is 2019.
well, it'd be their septic system they pump, not the,
But they should be hooked to the sewer.
If they're on the list that they.
Oh,
were hooked to
right.
the
Oh,
public
okay.
So they're
sewer,
on the list.
oh, right.
what's the address?
This one's 69 Sam West.
79 Tannery. Which is the only Tannery Road one, I think.
Theoretically,
69 Sam West, that's what you have, right?
yeah,
And the other one is
I can, if you wanna leave these with me, any of these ones that have this issue, I can
Oh, the
check with,
74 tannery. And 74 tannery,
I don't think it goes down there.
well, you've got
What does it say about the betterment on that list?
58 tannery, 42 72 tannery, and 74 tannery.
Oh, you don't have the list that shows the betterment.
No, I just have it.
No. Okay, what I would do, were I you, is send that to Randy Brown and find out.
So how many other ones did I
Why?
pull that aren't really on
Okay.
sewers?
The sewers, the piping can go by their house, and they're
Mhm.
charged a betterment. But the town didn't necessarily connect them all.
Right,
People had to pay for their own connections. And if you didn't connect, you still had to pay the betterment,
mhm,
because the betterment was the pipe that went by. But you could probably stay, unless your septic system failed,
right,
then you would be mandated to connect. And the failure criteria was, more than just a black D box, it was
Right.
a failure. So there could have been properties that didn't pay for their own connections.
right, or like this one, it was just pumped in December, maybe
It's 2019.
they always would,
That's
well, this one had a
So-
Title V, so
Title
that's,
V.
yeah. So not for this one is definitely still a septic if it passed Title V, but, for this one that they just had it pumped, they would have to pump, before they connect, they would have to pump the tank, so they could have done the final pump, and then they could have just connected last month.
So who has an accurate list of the people that are actually on sewer, not just the pipe going by?
Yeah,
They must have they must know.
Yeah. Check with
Yeah.
Randy Brown,
Yeah,
All right.
okay?
And those two, I didn't look through every one I pulled, I just
Right.
pulled them, and for some reason, I don't know why I looked at those two.
Right. I should have thought about that, that it wasn't just a list of properties, that
right,
it was a list of connections.
So I'll have to get a list of connections from Randy.
Hold on a second, let me go see what I have.
Luckily, these are all boxed up in your office.
Yeah. so if we have to put them back,
Like to pull any I can pull.
yeah,
I didn't toss them,
right,
thank God.
right. Yeah, if we can't get the list, worst case scenario, we can just put them back in the file cabinet. I'd rather have them.
They
Then-
must, but the thing is, they must know
Right.
know every house that's hooked up,
Right. You would think.
yeah. I'll be meeting soon. Period.
Okay, here's my list. And this is basically prepared by the assessors, so it's monetarily based more than anything.
So those are the two properties
See
there.
what I mean? So this is the assess, but I see some notes on some of these. Page 3 of 120. That's the EDUs, that's the phase, that's. Captain Fowler Partners. This
Okay.
really doesn't tell you much about whether they physically connected.
It just indicates that the pipe goes by.
This, yes, and it indicates how much they were assessed, how much they paid, how much they have to pay for years and years to come, I guess, or something like that. So,
It's a $6,000.
I think it was 8, I thought it was 8.
8 flat fee or 8 for the next,
8,000 was a kind of a flat fee,
okay, and they spread that out over X amount of years.
yeah.
That's not bad. I thought it was like, yeah. Okay, so that's time to check.
Yeah. So this really is not gonna help you much.
Yeah, yeah, I just pulled up the property card, it doesn't look like it indicates,
Public sewer,
yeah.
we'll pull up one that I know is public sewer, pull up 3 Berkshire Avenue.
I can't see from back here in my glasses.
Condition, no, yeah,
Does it say anything?
no,
It's got, there is a code there somewhere. Go down, it's appraisals, do you go? No, okay, there is a code there that's somewhere that says there. They're connected to the public sewer system.
I'll check, I can check with, assessors tomorrow,
Hmm.
Write yourself a note.
yeah. Okay,
Okay.
Okay, so Tom is going to, for the, we meet with the finance committee, Tom is going to come to that meeting because we have to explain
When is that? Not this Saturday?
next Saturday,
25th.
Okay.
We have to explain this whole thing with
the grant,
the grant and whether our budget should be put in a stipend for Tom in the budget or not, how we need to do that. And you're still talking to Laura and
Yeah,
Carl
and
about
Carl,
that.
yeah, so I gotta get that squared away, but, yeah, it looks like, I think what will end up making the most sense is to put a separate line item in the budget. Cause it still is technically for the grant. So if the grant went away, they wouldn't wanna keep that necessarily whole amount in my base salary. So I think they would probably rather create a separate line item for that grant-related money. And then that can be, as long as the grant's around, that can be in the budget, and then if the grant goes away, then that would go away. So,
And then they'd have to come up with some other source to compensate for the loss of the grant.
right, so yeah, it's in my contract that would, trigger going back into
Renegotiation.
negotiations, so,
But it's,
yeah,
but that's not gonna happen at least
right,
for
right,
another 5 years or
right.
so.
The grant, yeah, it seems like the grant will be around for a while, so.
I would hope so after all.
But yeah,
everything
after all
we've
this,
gone through.
after all this work, I don't want it to go away,
I know.
so,
Okay, and I printed out what you did as far as the instructions.
Oh, you know what, I revamped it all. But no, let me see it, because I maybe didn't put those revamps in, because I actually
Well-
made folders now, I put the names of the folders.
Right.
Go ahead, let me,
But there's some things, I just started, this is the only
Okay.
page I got to.
all right,
Because I was reading it like I didn't know what I was doing.
right, that's how you're supposed to be doing it.
And the only thing, this is as far as I got, was shape or allergy. Should it be and or? And do you need them all? And then send the application to the town clerk's office to be approved, assured all taxes I pay. They don't approve the application, they just make sure.
Oh, that's right, okay.
So, you know, there's just little tiny
You didn't-
explanations.
Did you finish reading the whole thing?
No, that's as far as I got before I got called away.
Oh, then here, maybe you should keep it then.
Well, no, you take that part and fix it.
I'll just photocopy it, and you can have it.
No, I don't want it. You keep it and you fix it. I can just reprint it from the new emails you're gonna send me that you
Yes, I'm gonna send you
revamped,
the new emails,
okay?
yes. I did the permit application, the turnover, what was the other one?
And a purchase
The
orders.
Purchase order, even though Karen doesn't purchase
Yeah.
orders.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, if you get a secretary, Karen's not in, you need a purchase
Right.
order, somebody else needs to know how to do it.
Right.
Yeah, so that.
Yeah.
So I started, there was a book, there's a folder that Karen uses for directions, then there was a Board of Health meeting procedure notebook, then there was a office procedure notebook. It's like, my God,
Yeah.
so I just
Well,
going through them,
you
but
know,
they're from like 2004. So
Yeah, I
they would
could've done-
Yeah.
But it's when Kathleen was there.
Yeah, because I was working with Kathleen on those books.
Yeah,
So,
it's just a lot of stuff.
but you know what? You're going to create this and it's going to be, you know, step by step by step. And then a half hour after you complete it, accounting is gonna say, well, we like, it's an ever-changing
I know, that's how.
procedure. That's the problem, is what existed in 2004 does not exist, and what could exist today could be changed tomorrow.
Right.
So unless they're constantly updated.
Yeah. Like if
You know.
somebody comes in, for a perk test, we have a perk test application,
Mhm.
we give them,
Mhm.
like, I don't know, the one that is it on the shared service drive,
I think so, yeah,
to see.
yeah, I'm pretty sure it's on there.
Right.
Karen does all that, but, well, like you said,
She's
if
not
we
there,
have
it
someone,
has
then
to- Has to
the,
be in the
the
directions.
other
in the
person
book.
should know how to do all of that as well,
Right.
so.
Okay, so we don't give out bakery permits, even though I got a list from 2021, bakery permits.
Well, they would be just a residential kitchen or, food service,
But because Big Y, Murphy's,
yeah,
maybe the La Patisseria.
yeah. Yeah, so they just get a regular food service permit, there's not a special separate bakery permit.
Even though it said bakery,
That's weird.
yeah.
Look at do
I
we
think
charge for a
I think I-
bakery permit?
I think
Is there-
I have.
Yeah, I mean, the ones you just mentioned, those are all, in all the recent records I've seen, those are all just considered a food service.
But should they be in addition, the bakery should be in addition to? You
Did
know,
we used to do a bakery permit?
yeah,
I don't know, we
I
have.
think,
There's not on our
we
fee
have it on
schedule.
the,
there's not,
I don't recall seeing it on our fee schedule, let me pull it up here.
The 2020,
Permit fee schedule. We have our food service, class A, which those ones you mentioned all have that.
left it at home.
And we have the retail, mobile food, catering, seasonal food.
what's under
temporary.
other?
Under other, we've got body art, septic, funeral director, haulers, installers, perks, pools, camps,
So the
rendering.
bakery must have just gone away and got absorbed into the general food permit.
Yeah,
How did that happen? Weren't you paying attention, Sue?
It's not even on, so it's not on the list, it's
No.
from 2020.
Yeah, so it just kind of disappeared.
So it got into the food service or retail.
Yep,
So therefore, Big Y has a retail and a food service, right? Patisserie has a retail and a food service.
yep. Yeah,
And
there's,
I think the sushi place had a separate permit too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they have a separate permit, so
Yeah.
those would be,
cause they, Big Y contracts with that separate AFC, I think is the company,
Mhm.
so it's not Big Y employees, it's
Yeah.
AFC
Right.
employees, so.
so when you sent out these renewal things, it looks as if they're just sending them to the place of business, they're not putting to anybody's attention. The
Well,
owner's
people
attention.
change, just like look
Right.
at Zantos. You know, you got a new owner,
Right,
so you
So they
can
just-
send it, you know, somebody could move,
All right,
somebody
so they just
could.
put it because I was looking at
Yeah.
that, and then there's another list that does have the person's name and their email address and their phone number, but I don't know how up to date that is.
Right, and is that on the application?
yeah,
Then when you get an application back, that needs to be updated.
All right,
Right.
So if somebody doesn't maintain that,
right,
so I could take the 2023 ones when I have time and pull them, or when I go through the folders and pull them all out. I'm only gonna keep the 2022 and 2023 permits, everything else is gonna get boxed up. Then I'll look to see and update it, and
right, it should be a spreadsheet, you should just.
and it would be nice if it could all be on one sheet. The
Well, you
name-
can put it on one sheet, create a sheet.
Yeah, right.
yeah,
Uh-oh, you just blacked out for a second.
Okay, but that will take time, that'll take me
Yeah.
2 years.
Well, you're retired,
Yeah,
I'm not.
I know, not yet.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so our next meeting will be the first Thursday in April.
yep,
Oh, no, first we have the finance meeting, the 25th.
yep.
The first meeting in April, and I don't know what date that is,
It is April 6th,
April 6th.
and unless the legislature does something, it will be exclusively in person.
In person.
Now, are they saying no more Zoom, period?
No, they just have not renewed the legislation that allows for Zoom. So hybrid, I should say, that is,
So if we wanted to record the meeting, the Zoom link and everything would not have to be on the agenda,
right,
but we could still sit in here with the owl, basically like we're doing today, because no
Right.
one logged on, and
right.
have a private Zoom meeting with ourselves, just to have the recording of the meeting, if we wanted to do
And
that.
it would be for recording purposes only.
Right,
So if somebody did get the Zoom information and popped in,
right,
you wouldn't admit them.
right,
So it would be strictly in person,
right,
not that anybody attends.
So it's strictly in-person meeting.
Yep,
right. Unless, I guess there's a bill, so the legislature might adopt that which would allow hybrid.
I think
To
they're gonna
continue.
allow hybrid.
I mean, it honest, in the nature of the open meeting law, having it hybrid and people can go in via Zoom, it makes it a more open meeting than otherwise, so I don't see why they wouldn't allow it, but it's all red tape and semantics and all that, so who knows, maybe they'll do it in time, or maybe we'll go old school for a few meetings and then they'll finally do it.
Yeah. Okay, I make a motion to adjourn the meeting at 6:55,
I second that motion.
and all in favor?
Aye.
Sue,
Aye.
all in favor, 6:55.